Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you're taking some of your afternoon to spend with us as we have a great guest with us today talking about some resources that we have for our elementary school teachers. So as you know, my name is John Shoemaker. I'm here today just to kind of go over some of the basics, be the MC, and share a little bit of information before I turn it over to Holly, who is our guest. So as a reminder, we just want to keep you and let you know that this is being recorded. It is live on YouTube, and whenever it's finished, it'll be uploaded to our channel almost immediately after we end the broadcast. So our channel is located down below. You'll see our name, EdTech Palm Beach Training Team. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell, and you'll be notified anytime we upload any videos or we go live. We also have our website, which is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. That website has all of our resources and will include today's resources that we get from Holly's session as well. So everything that we have done, everything that we do is located on that site, and we keep it as up to date as possible. So we thank you all for joining us in the chat box. The chat box should be over to the right of the screen, or depending on how you have your YouTube, it'll be kind of under the screen and to the right. So if you have questions or you have ideas on how you want to share this with your own classroom, please feel free to ask those in the chat box. We would love to know what you're thinking. And we have some people in those chat boxes with the little wrench next to their name, and those are our moderators. So if you have any questions, the moderators should be able to assist you. And those moderators will also try to be getting some of the questions at the end if there are some that Holly can answer as well. So with that, we're going to talk today. Holly's going to review today some of the resources for the digital elementary Google Classroom. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Holly Ann, and she is from our library media department. Holly Ann, if you want to introduce yourself and go ahead and get started.
Okay, thanks, John, and thanks everybody for being here. I'm happy to share these resources with you, most of which we've had for some time. They are subscription databases that Library Media Services provides for not only our media specialists, but our students and our teachers. Some of these will be our temporary resources that our vendors have kindly provided, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm very happy to share these resources with you and help you leverage them in your Google Classroom. So this is our focus today. We're going to try to cover really quickly these resources. 4 of them are basically your old-fashioned general encyclopedia, but in a digital format. And 2 of them are collections of multi-user ebooks. The ones with the red star will be disappearing at the end of the COVID-19 crisis, or June 30th, whatever comes first, something like that. Our 2 vendor, well, it's really both from one vendor, Capstone, generously provided Pebble Go Next, and a huge Capstone interactive library for us to use because of the crisis and flipping to online learning. So we're going to enjoy those and leverage them and celebrate them, and then try not to be upset when they're gone, because that's the way things go, and we won't be able to afford to replace them. But we are grateful to Capstone for adding those resources to our portal for us so that our teachers could benefit. So without further ado, now these slides are really wordy, and they really weren't meant to be the slides for the presentation. I want to go live in a minute, but I wanted to show you my format for these slides, because this will be your resource after we are finished, and John posts them to the EdTech training site and wherever else he puts material after the webinar is recorded. Each of my slides looks like this. It has the resource name and the tile as it appears in our school district portal. It has a description, a recommended grade level, and then the final column is how to upload or attach these materials to your Google Classroom so that you can go back and look at these directions later, because I'm going to go live and demo those steps before we run out of time. But I did want you to know that each of the slides show you how to get to the resource, what it's generally used for, and then steps for you to remember how to use it with Google Classroom. So each of them are like this. Worldbook is a little particular because it has such a big landing page once you click the tile, we're going to talk about Worldbook Kids and Worldbook Students today. So those are the resources we're going to be talking about adding to Google Classroom. You can always explore the others at another time. And some of those resources are temporary, but not Worldbook Kids and Worldbook Students. We have had those for a long time, and we will continue to do so. So this is my slide about getting to the two Worldbook resources. You can see the same format that you can refer to later. And then our last set of resources are the eBooks. And the slide is the same, gives you some hints. So I am going to exit these slides and go live in our portal. And you let me know, John, if something isn't showing up right. So the best way to find these resources, if you've never used them before, is to use the search application box on the front or home tab of your school district portal. All of these resources are best accessed through our portal. Some of them authenticate with Google email, and some of them have another authentication kind of built in the background. So the best way to access these is to go through the portal as opposed to trying to go to worldbook.com, for example, or some other shortcut. Go through the portal and you'll have the least amount of problems accessing these resources. So I have these down here in recent because I've looked at them often lately. So let me open Pebble Go and start there. Pebble Go is an encyclopedic database for the emergent reader. It's intended for kindergarten through second grade, although I've heard reports that teachers and media specialists have used it with grades above that. It has a lot of features that help support a young child learning how to do research, including an audio feature, which you may or may not hear through this system. When I click these modules, they do read out loud. So what I'm going to do is navigate quickly through this visual search and pick a topic. So now I have an article. PebbleGo has a lot of features that help the younger child read or learn new words. For example, anything in red is connected to the glossary. It also has a read out loud function for those that are struggling readers or ELLs. And each page is a separate tab in the article. At the end of the article, and now this is one of our extra and temporary features, there's a read more tab, and it leads students to 2 individual full ebooks that you can open and read more about whatever topic it is that you've chosen. It also leads you to other articles within the database that are similar. Now, the way you're going to add this to your Google Classroom is to create a PDF of the article. Unfortunately, you can't really link the article directly to the Google Classroom. It won't open after you've closed the article itself. It will cache on your computer and it will appear that you can open it, but your students won't be able to. It'll just take them to the main screen of Pebble Go and ask them to log in. So a workaround is to print the article, which is going to load. I hope I can demo this. And I do print. And see how it has saved to Google Drive? You can do that and pull it out of your Google Drive, or you can save it as a PDF, save it to a location where you can find it, and then go through the same attach process that you do for an assignment or materials, any of the things in Google Classroom, where you can attach a file or pick a file from your Google Drive. So that's how you would put this information into a lesson. Now I'm going to cancel because I'm not going to demo Google Classroom itself, and I don't want to go through that whole process of saving the article. But that's the best thing to do. You can do the article or just one page. Now, what you lose out on for the students is you do lose out on the illustrations, the videos, and this audio feature that helps the emerging reader. So you might want to consider actually teaching your students how to go to Pebble Go. They have the tile as well, and they can learn to do their own search, either by typing a simple search in the search dialog box or by using the visual search on the home page of Pebble Go. And you notice that we have the materials broken up into what they call modules by topic, social studies, science, and so on. And we have a companion Spanish module for all the topics except dinosaurs. So you could work with your ELL students, your Spanish-speaking students, and they could use that resource instead, and it's identical but translated into that language. So that's how you add things to your Google Classroom from Pebble Go. And Pebble Go Next works similar, except that it's material on a higher reading level, and the modules are slightly different. Even though it has biographies and social studies, it does have an American Indian history module and information on states, which is great for state reports for elementary students. So it has the branching search visual that kids really take to, and then you have the article level here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Lost my article, hang on. All right, so there's my article and maps, and then, okay, my screen is so stretched out, I cannot see the command I want to see. It's in here somewhere. You have to forgive me. I'm presenting on a Chromebook, not my favorite resource to use. So some of my commands have stretched off the page. It's off to the right, though. It's the same thing. Print the article and save it as a PDF and put it in your Google Classroom that way. Or teach your students how to navigate themselves to Pebble Go and do a simple search.
And Holly, I'm going to bounce in right now. Keep going. You're okay. There's just questions that we're curious about as to who has access to these resources inside of the district. So I know that most of these tiles are available in the teacher and the student portal. But are they allowed to be in other portals? So like we have a school tech in the chat, or what about district employees that are not teachers? Who should be allowed to have access to these?
It's the access as far as the license is district wide. The portal is a different animal, and that's set up by IT, and they use department numbers or some sort of magic number in the background to make the tiles appear. They can't do it person by person. They have to do it by a whole category of some kind. I know that the curriculum team, I've worked pretty hard to have the curriculum team have access to all of these tiles. As far as techs, they may not, and that's something we'd have to put in an eSupport ticket to Jonathan Cincina and ask him to add all the techs.
Yeah, so that's a great point.
That's how that goes.
So Judy and Ida in the chat, if you just want to reach out to Holly and let them know like what group you're a part of, and you guys can work on getting a service request in to see if they're able to get your group. It's basically all scoped differently based on your job code. So
right, exactly. That's exactly how it works. And so it's kind of an all or nothing thing. It's everyone in that group instead of person by person.
Exactly. So okay, keep going, Holly. Thank you.
All right. So my next I've lost my train of thought, John. No, just kidding. So my next resource was from Gale, and that is called Kids Infobits. Now, this may be a little confusing, And let me back up here and do this again. I just clicked this Gale research tile, and that's what you need to search for to get access. Teachers and students are directed to their exact page for their school. Because I'm the super user for the Gale products, and some media specialists are connected this way, I get this splash page. So it's the only way I can navigate to show you this. And I get to pick any school I want, but I'm going to pick Acreage Pines. And students should end up on a page like this that has the name of their school at the top. So what this does is it sorts elementary kids to elementary appropriate material, and middle to middle, and high school to high school, and so on. So your direct click from that Gale tile should be to your school page. But then again, that's all based on how Jonathan Cincina has it kind of sorted in the background to work with that splash page. So here I am at a school page, and the elementary resource we want to look at is called Kids Infobits. These logos are a little bit hard to differentiate from because they look so similar in color, but you have to look for the title. So Kids Infobits is the first one. I'm going to open that resource. It's loading a little slow for me. I'm not exactly sure what you're seeing. So then same thing, this has a search dialog box. You can search for dogs, or you could do a branching search visually through the animal icon like this. But I want to point out this little tool up here first before we go on. And you can click this at any point in your session. Once you do, it will just stay logged in, but you notice that it says sign in with Google. This is the magic button for you to use this with Google Classroom. You want to, at any point, maybe not until you find your article, or right at this moment, you just click it. It's going to cycle, and you'll see that now I'm logged in as Holly Ann. It will do the same thing for you as long as you're logged into the portal. So if I do a visual search and pets, which takes a little time, I go down here, it's loading, and we're going to pick cats for a change. And you notice there's audio support for your students. That's throughout this tool, same as the other one. It reads at the article level and at the search level. So now I am at the article level. I'm going to click cats. Now I have my article I want to share in my Google Classroom. All I have to do is go back up to the top and look for the Google Classroom logo. I click it. It's going to open a box that's going to let me choose my classroom. I have a laboratory class that I use for demos. I'm going to choose an action. I'm going to create an assignment. I'm going to say go. I'm going to call it cats. You see it automatically linked this document directly to my assignment. And I'm going to click assign. And my colleague, Lisa Seymour, who poses as a student in this classroom so that we can test things, just got an email that she has a new assignment to read about cats. If I want to go over to my Google Classroom and view my assignment, I can click that view button and it will take me there. Or I can just close this if I wanted to continue to search to look for items. Actually, Gale is the resource that we have, and across K-12, we have quite a few different database products from Gale, and almost all of them work like this, super seamless. You go right through the product, make your Google Classroom element, and save it, and it will work as long as they are logged into the portal along with being in their Google Classroom. It works the best of all the products we have right now. It's more seamlessly integrated to Google Classroom. So this may be your go-to resource for that kind of access. Again, this time it will take you to the full article or resource that you picked, and there is a button where they can listen to it out loud. They will have all these tools to work with. So it's much richer when you can be inside the product itself and not have to rely on just a PDF of the product. All right, so the other generalized database product we were going to look at is WorldBook. And that's another one where it's a main tile. This is the tile in the portal. Notice that at the bottom how WorldBook is spelled in the title or how it's spaced. To search for this, your best chance of getting it to come up in the portal search is to type WorldBook with no space, and you will discover it in the portal. And then what I would recommend is right-clicking these tiles and saving them as a favorite. Then you can find them easily without the search every time. So I'm clicking the WorldBook tile and I get to the splash. And the two resources we were going to look at today are WorldBook Kids and WorldBook Students. So I'm going to start with WorldBook Kids. Let it load. This is a very visual and fun interface for students that has lots of different features that we don't have time to look at today, but take a look at this and see all the different things that kids can do. Again, it's worth pointing your students to this for their own exploration. It's worth creating a research project where they have to explore it on their own and search so that they can get the richness of the tool. I'm going to put in horse and hit that and hit search, and it's loading. Now this one is a little bit tougher, and we've had mixed results, but your best way to do this is, let me show you for a second. So I'm on an article about horses, it's a long article. So you look for the tool symbol, which is a gear, like in a lot of products. I'm going to open this gear, and I'm going to do save to Google Drive. Once you save it to Google Drive, you'll be able to go into your classroom, and where it has add, you click add from Google Drive, and it will pop up there, and it will be a PDF of the article, and it adds it automatically to your drive. Now we do have this option under share to go directly to Google Classroom, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's very similar to the Gale one. The reason that this one is less reliable, and it's only true for WorldBook, is that right now we are not authenticating to WorldBook through our Google addresses. We're not doing Google authentication. So this is a very less reliable way to attach to Google Classroom at this time. It may work if you have WorldBook open in a separate tab before you click on your link in your finished link in your Google Classroom, and it will sometimes open, but it's a little bit iffy. And it's because of the way we authenticate to WorldBook. We'll work on this after the crisis. We're working on it in January, and we had some glitches with the vendor. So it is on our list to do, and this will work better in the future. It will be seamless like the Gale one once we're authenticating with Google to WorldBook in the background. So it's not my first recommendation, but it will work if you have the product open in another tab while you have your Google Classroom open, and same with the kids for them to access it. The most reliable way to go is the other tool, but unfortunately that does make it into a PDF, so it's static and it doesn't have the illustrations or the read aloud feature or the translation features that are so helpful with our students. You can see that it has a read aloud setting and it has translate this text. So they miss out on those things when you do it as a PDF, but hopefully soon in the future, we'll have that other tool working seamlessly. But you can give it a try as long as you teach the kids to have the tab open, and hopefully it'll work for you. But the PDF one definitely works. Again, it's good to teach your kids how to get to these directly so that they can take advantage of all the features. So now let me close a couple of my tabs so my screen is more manageable. We're going to look at the two ebook libraries. This is Capstone Interactive, and there was something important I wanted to share with you before I clicked it open. Again, the search secret for Capstone, for any of these tiles, you have to search the title that they gave it in the portal. So the title for the Capstone Interactive Library is Interactive eBooks. So when you search for this originally, you're going to have to search the words Interactive eBook. Don't put the word Capstone, it won't work. Interactive eBooks, and you'll end up with this tile. And then again, I suggest that you right click it and add it to your favorites. So once I click it, I get this full bookshelf. This is the entire collection. This is our temporary resource. This is thousands of multi-user ebooks. You can sort by the variety of reading level filters here, and you can also search by title and topic using this dialog box at the top, and you can search by or filter to have only the English titles or only the Spanish titles come up. Now, I did a pretend assignment in my test Google Classroom with a book called A Backpack Full of Verbs. And what I suggest is that you write an assignment that explains to the students that they need to go to Capstone and look up this particular book. And what I did was I did a screenshot of the cover of the book that I wanted them to see, and I added that into my Google Classroom and did the explanation of look at this book cover and go to Capstone and look up this title. And I have made a demo video that's linked in the slide deck that you will get that explains how it demos with a screenshot how to get to this resource and how to type in the title and open a book. So I'm going to take the shortest word from that title and I'm going to search it. And you're going to see I found my book, A Backpack Full of Verbs. The student clicks the book. They click play book. It loads up. Now you can play these books if you're using Google Meet inside of Google Classroom and you want to pseudo read aloud to the kids or play the book and discuss it in your classroom, you could do that. They all have audio, which you can turn off by clicking it. So if it's a black dot, it's off. If it's green, it's going to read out loud. For the purposes of our demo, I'm going to turn it off in case the sound interferes with the broadcast we're doing. You have a choice to read the book manually, page by page, and control the pace, or you can read the book all at once, which means it will automatically page forward and read out loud. I'm going to demo it as read page by page. You move over to the right, and there's a forward arrow, and the students simply forward through the pages of the book. If I click the audio on briefly, and I move it to the next page,
on the dance floor,
you can see that it reads and it highlights the words.
Or are there ants?
You can actually control the speed of that audio as well. So there is no direct way to link the Capstone books. And remember, this is a free, gratis, because we're in a crisis offering from Capstone. So we're grateful to have it. The way you're going to have to share this with your students is to make an assignment that explains to go to the title that you want them to read and explain how to get there. And you can use my demo video that's loaded into YouTube and it's in my slides to help them know how to do that until such time as there's a better way to link them, but they just are not built that way. You can also again, teach your kids how to just get to the resource because there's a lot of great pleasure reading material in here, as well as nonfiction books. So it's a great resource for the kids to use on their own too for free choice reading. So that's the Capstone Interactive Library. Our other interactive library that's multi-user you may be familiar with, it is Tumblebooks. Letting that load up. Now, this is a little bit convoluted how to get to this, but it does work really well from Google Classroom once you have them linked, and especially if you tell them to have the Tumblebook product open on another tab. I'm going to go to Index. Now, prior to this, I will have had to decide, it's best to decide by another search what book you want to use. So say I've decided that that I want, Bagels on Board is right there, or whatever it is. Go to the index, because this is a little cumbersome. There's no direct search on this page, but you want to either jump to the first letter of the book, or you can do a sort here to put the authors in alphabetical order, so that they're here somewhere, so that you can find your book easier. So that's done them the other way. Anyway, so decide that I want to attach this book, A Light in the Darkness. You click the book ID, and it opens a blue box with a URL. It's a permalink. You need to copy that permalink and paste it in your Google Classroom item, whether it's an assignment or materials, whatever you decide to do. But that permalink will take them directly to this book. So you copy that, then you go back to your Google Classroom and build your assignment or your materials link. And that's how you need to work with Tumblebooks. For those of you that haven't had much experience with Tumblebooks, they do read out loud. They have musical background, and there are eBooks that are not animated, but are for older students. Great for pleasure reading or novel studies, and they all are multi-user. So if you're looking for something for all your students to read together, this might be a place for you to look. Okay, John, I think I'm finished with that live demo. Can you throw that last slide up for me, please?
Sure thing, Holly.
I'm
So
coming back to you.
Yep. So she just has a couple of tips to share, and then we will wrap up.
So for the best success, it's good to have the product open in another tab before you open the link from Google Classroom. It's like a fail-safe thing. It's critical for some of the resources, unnecessary for others, but if you just do it, that helps you ensure success of the link. And again, the ones that I put in the directions that do not have a way to direct link, use the method that I said about downloading the PDF and uploading it that way. It's good to teach your students how to find these tiles before you use the resource as an assignment. That way they have a backup. If for some reason the link fails them, they already know, oh, she wanted me to see that book, A Backpack Full of Verbs. I know I can go and search for that book. Particularly this works with older students. I realize it's more difficult with kindergartners, but older elementary can surely do that if you've worked with them a little bit before. Always access these resources by signing in through our district portal rather than trying to go to a URL. Right now it is confusing because the Capstone Interactive Library is out there for free for the entire country. And the Tumblebooks library that, by the way, we do pay a subscription fee, a yearly subscription fee for, is currently released free by the company to support all the schools in the country during this crisis. So it's a little confusing because you can see them from a URL, but we don't get usage stats that way, and we are paying for some of these resources. So it's just better to have that all go through the same access point. So I highly suggest going through the portal login.
Agreed.
So,
and as Holly suggested, her first tip is not just specific to her resources. I know we've had questions about Discovery, about BrainPop, about many other of our EdTech tools, and a lot of them have the same, authentication process that these products have, which is you have to click on the tile first in the portal then come back to Google Classroom, and then launch the link again. So oftentimes what we do is we encourage teachers to write out those directions right in the Google Classroom that say, please click on the Brain Pop or the Gale or the World Book tile, come back to Google Classroom, click on the link below, and then that will launch and then should open up in the resource and authenticate. It's just the way that shaking hands works between companies. So once you teach your students to do that the first couple of times, they should be able to get the hang of it. And once they do it with everything, then yeah, they're doing it often. Go ahead,
John,
Holly.
just real quick, can you click back to just a couple slides back to the one that's about the capstone? Can you see that from your? Nope, it's the other way towards the end.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, can you make that? Well, I guess they can see it bigger.
Yeah, we'll be able to share it.
There's a link there that is in the description about how to link the capstone books. That actually goes to a YouTube video. You go out and watch that video, and then you can copy the link to share with your students about how to use the capstone.
So what we'll do is we'll also, I'll grab that URL as well, and we'll put that directly on the website too. So they can just see that as well and share that out with their students. That's a great resource.
Unfortunately, I didn't have time to make one for each of the tools, but maybe I can.
That's okay.
And then I can shoot them over to you, John, and you can add them.
Either way, this way, you show it once. Most of the time, they're pretty similar in the rest of the tools, but we appreciate that. And Lisa did just share the actual direct link to the video in the channel as well. So with that, we will take questions. I haven't seen many that weren't answered. Again, the biggest thing that people have been saying is that they really need to get access to the tool. They would love to get access to the actual tools because they're not in the actual teacher or student role. So, we'll have to work through that with Holly and IT, and they can see if they can work that out. Dana also posted some of our stock directions to the chat. It's a little longer, but you can copy it and just have it somewhere. But essentially, it's step by step. In Classroom, you can make it look nice with each step 1, 2, 3. But it really explains to them how this all works, so that they can actually authenticate into all of the tools that are out there. So we wanted to bring this to you mainly because we know that not many of you know that a lot of these tools even exist. So the district does pay for a lot of these tools, so it's nice to be able to actually get some usage out of them. And even in this time of remote learning, having something like the capstone where you could, I'm guessing your entire class could be listening to the same book essentially if you wanted them to.
Or reading it at any time because they're multi-user, correct? Yeah,
so that's really nice. I know that's a little harder in the ebook world, is to get all of your kids to get to read the same book, mostly because it's extremely expensive. So having that option now with another month and a half left of school where you could get a 1 or 2 of those books in as a class would be a great idea to do. So use it while you can is my philosophy. So
now the Tumble books will stay, but the capstone will be unfortunately going away. And there is some great fiction in there, beginning reader novels. There's some of those in the Tumble books as well, but that one will be staying. But the capstone, unfortunately, I think there's 4,000 books in there.
Wow.
There's no way any school district can buy what's sitting there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great thing to use and enjoy while we have it.
For sure. So if there are questions, you can keep putting those in the chat. I do want to share some other resources that are available. We do have a help form where it'll get you some assistance a little faster than normal. So if you have any questions, I posted the link down in the chat box. It is case sensitive, but go ahead and copy and paste that. It asks you just a few short questions, and then someone will be able to get back to you quickly, either via email, or we can do a hangout or a meet so that we can get the information and solve whatever problem you need solved as soon as possible. A couple of other things we want to share. There is a couple of things we added to the calendar this week. because Google continues to update Google Meet as often as they possibly can right now. So we will be having another Lunch and Learn later this week on giving you the newest updates to Google Meet, which some of you may have already saw in your Google Classroom because they're kind of hinting at it at the top of your classroom. So we'll actually be going through the best practices now that they've changed how we should be doing the meets with our students again. So please feel free to join us with that later this week. We've got some great guests on Wednesday. We have Discovery coming in to share all the great Discovery education resources. And our friends from Smart are coming back to do some more SLSO to go a little bit deeper into that product as well. So please feel free to join us. We're happy to have you. And Holly, we are always grateful to have you as well. We appreciate everything that you do. And Lisa in the chat, we appreciate you covering as well, answering the questions too. So with that, Holly, would you like to say anything to lead us out?
Well, just thank you to everyone for being here and hang in there. I know this flip to online learning has been stressful for everyone. Do know that, Ed Tech is doing an amazing job of support. And library media is here also, and your media specialist. Reach out to your media specialist for information about these tools and other tools. There are free tools out there that have always been out there that might work for your students or your project needs. We'll all just be creative and use what we have. We're going to get through this together.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week.